is advised.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Board Games Unlocked, and today I'm doing an introduction for the new series that I will be doing for the channel, and that is going to be the BattleCon World of Indines Tournament. Now, this is obviously only going to be for anyone who's a huge fan of BattleCon, and I thought it could be, one, a good excuse to actually play this game, and two, something fun that isn't an actual campaign. As far as I know, I don't believe there is, well, maybe there is a mode, like a tournament mode guide that's in here. I don't believe there is. You think that would have been something that they created? But, I mean, obviously it's extremely simple. So what Devin and I are going to be doing is we have essentially completely randomized the brackets, and we have made two brackets for each of the different tiers. So novice, intermediate, and advanced. That's like the general term. And then what we have done is there were 32 novice contestants. There were 30 like intermediate, or 33 intermediate, and then 30 advanced. And what we did is we basically numbered them 1 through 32 in case of novice, and then just did a random number generator, and that's how we got our contestants for that. And then that gave us our total number to fight, and then I set it up with a bracket. So the plan is, because initially it was going to be a champion of novice, champion of intermediate, and champion of advanced, but I wanted to do a final end-all champion of champions tournament to see who won the whole thing. And the problem with doing that is that left 3 to fight, which I guess we could have just done 2 and then 1. However, it made it a little bit better for the Champions Tournament to be out of 6. So we actually have 2 Novice Tournaments, 2 Intermediate, and 2 Advanced, and then the winners of those, which will leave us with our 6, will fight against one another, and then whoever wins that whole thing will be declared the BattleCon Champion. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go over who is actually fighting, for anyone who ends up caring about this entire thing. This one will just give a bunch of games of BattleCon to display, because this is a game that Devin and I both love, and there's a lot of characters here, 90 in total. Now, so I am going to start by going over the BattleCon Novice Tournament number 1. Alright, so for tournament number 1, which is the Novice Tournament, we have randomly selected, basically I'm just going to kind of go over the contestants for the champion of BattleCon, and kind of what their back says. So we have Bane Veer, and Devin has definitely played this game a lot more than I have. So there are a few characters that did come in that I have personally played. So Bane Veer is the Knight Commander. Show me your strength! He is a brawler, and Bane Veer fights with raw power and excellent stats. Using his Spellbreaker tokens, he is able to deny styles to both himself and the opponent, making contests a pure test of skill and power. Deny your opponents their critical advantages and beat them in direct combat. And yeah, so that is him, and that's who I'm going to be playing. Man, I wish I had read that, because I do not like contestants. That'll be interesting. And he is going up against, where is he? Luckily I have these all in alphabetical order. He's going up against John Strong Stevenson, adventurer, explorer, scholar. The time has come to make my stand. John's Petrify tokens allow him to petrify himself or the opponent, granting damage reduction and also reducing movement for either player. With smart use, he can disrupt opponents' ranges and resist their disruption. Utilize these powerful mix-up options to outplan and outplay your opponents. That's interesting. That is interesting. Both. He is a slugger. I don't know. The terms are kind of interchangeable for some of them. I'm pretty sure slugger and brawler are the same thing. That's gonna be an interesting matchup, because they both seem to be around denying their opponent something. So it's going to be a lot of canceling shit. So that was the first fight. The winner of that fight will go on to fight Korra. Korra Sevtraxe, Sentinel of the Sands. It's useless to struggle. Sleep now for a while. Also a brawler, or a slugger. Korra's strikes inflict painful thorns, which do continuous damage over time. Removing these thorns forces opponents to fortify their styles, making them choose between less life or fewer options in the coming beats. By steadily inflicting light hits and avoiding retaliation, Korra can wear opponents down and eliminate them. Interesting, alright. So the fighter between Baneveer and John is going to go to fight Korra. So then the next fight is going to be my man. I actually have played this guy, and I enjoy him quite a bit, and that is O'Brien. Wardlaw O'Brien, self-styled villain. I'll beat you up, then I'll beat you down. Ha 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 ha. Heavyweight. Wardlaw is a fearsome brawler who uses the edges of the arena to his advantage. He can slam opponents into walls for bonus damage or leap from them for increased speed. Wardlaw's skill set gives him a high degree of mobility, though much of it is difficult to control. He is adept at moving both himself and his opponents across the battlefield in order to set up positions where his wall-based abilities will be most threatening. I like this guy. He is a lot of fun. He reminds me of a wrestler. And he is up against probably not his best comparison, Demetrius Denegrande, Vampire Knight. Do you hear it? The bated breath, fast beating heart, the whimper of fear. The sympathy of demise draws ever closer to the grand finale. He is a disruptor. Each hit Demetrius lands builds up his power and speed, culminating in a few finishing blows to secure victory. Each strike compounds his advantages, making the battle more and more dangerous for his opponent. Once you have built up enough momentum, obliterate your foe in a single stroke. Yeah, that does not bode well for me. But the fighter of that will end up going to Gar, Guide to the Six Paths. I walk a path which I alone remember. Brawler as well. Gar has an alternate set of bases. These bases have powerful stats, but few special effects. Instead, her styles provide most of her special effects and must be managed carefully to counterplay enemy tactics. Utilize a different paradigm to overpower and outplay foes with your own unique set of movements. So, those are the first 6 contestants. We initially were going to do 10, but that was going to be quite a bit of actual fights before we even got to the tournament. It was, there would have been 10 fights per tournament, so it would have been 60 total before we even got to the champions, and that was just a little much. So we were able to we took out 4, so there's 6 total, which takes out I think 24 different types of fights. And also, here's the crazy thing, we had 2 fights at 6 each, initially at 10 each, and that still left 13 fighters in novice, 12 fighters in intermediate, and 10 fighters. It's insane. There's so many different fighters in this game. So that is for novice tournament number 1. Going into novice tournament number 2, we have the big bad Rexen. Karen Gort Rexen, Overlord of Gesselheim. Countrymen, together once again we stand and shout, we will not be left behind. Rexen's curse grows stronger as he is attacked. Only by sacrificing their own strength can foes dispel this curse before it becomes powerful enough to overwhelm them. Use these opportunities to punish foes in their moment of weakness. Bury insolent rivals beneath the weight of your curse or tactily outmaneuver those who respect it. So, he is interesting as far as I'm concerned. He is actually, I think, the main villain in BattleCon, but who knows? Who knows what's going on? So, Rexen is fighting against one of the newer characters, Anya Southwind. Justice flies on golden wings. She's a disruptor. As a harpy, Anya can take flight to disrupt the ranges of her opponents and gain an advantage in melee combat. Flight isn't all upsides, though. While in the air, Anya is even more susceptible than normal to taking hits, and any attack will be able to stun her. Balance your attack patterns and strike carefully to outmaneuver your opponents. That's going to be incredibly interesting. because I've never played anyone who can actually fly. So Rexen versus Anya. Then we have one of the old mains, Eligor Larrington, and I have played him. Successor to Saint Kelbran. Who is worthy to stand and face me? Slugger as well, and taking damage causes Eligor to build up Vengeance. Vengeance can be spent to increase his defenses on future turns, providing powerful bonuses to guard. Eligor fights best when aggressively trading hits with his opponent over multiple beats. Face foes head-on and show them the relentless power of the divinities. See, him and Bane Veer, that would be a cool matchup. But unfortunately, 'twas not the case, and after Eligor's opponent is going to be... where is he? He is right here. Jaeger Brandfort, Wolfborn. I can smell the fear on you, the guilt and the guile. He's a disruptor. Jaeger has a selection of powerful signature moves which he can set instead of his regular attacks. Signature moves allow him to threaten different ranges and to utilize special maneuvers. Each one can only be used once. Use your signature moves to defeat your opponents with style and flourish. And I have actually played him. He is the wolf to, what is her name? Starts with a K. Karen. Yep, because it's Karen and Jaeger. But it's a token, so that's him actually in human form. I also forgot to talk about Rexen. The winner of the Rexen vs. Anya fight is going to be this chick, Octavia. Octavia is a brawler. You're just another target. She is a cybernetic sniper. Octavia's heavy rifle and cybernetic implants allows her to fight effectively at both melee and range. If she can predict an enemy's precise speed, she can sabotage their attack and act first. Use this to force opponents away from their most powerful plays or punish their transparency. Lock onto your enemies and take them down through a combination of superior range and strength. So I think she's going to be pretty cool. Pretty good counter for, really, Rexen or Anya. Anya might be a little bit easier for her to fight, though. And then the winner of the Eligor versus Jaeger fight is, of course, King Alexian the 37th, Dynasty King of Jeffries. We are all that stands between this world and devastation. Stand beside me and fight. Slugger. Alexian's superior power, defense, and speed allow him to easily overwhelm opponents. To give them a fighting chance, he obeys the laws of chivalry, offering his foes a chance to fight on even footing. Even with these advantages, challenging the king is no easy feat. Take on your enemies without hesitation and let strength and honor prevail. Oh, I've fought Alexian so many times. He's annoying. So, that is the two novice tournaments. Then we move into the intermediate tournaments, and I'll be doing updates throughout the fights of who won, and then I'll probably show the the tournament bracket at the end of each video. But going into intermediate, we have right there. We have Lim, Dream Within a Dream. I will lend you to a vision of the truth. A brawler as well. Lim's disparity changes based upon the difference between her priority and the opponent's priority. By properly anticipating and playing into these differences, Lim can gain incredible advantages and sabotage her opponent's strategies. Anticipate and play into your rival's strategy to disrupt and overpower them, or outpower them. So yeah, a lot of predictors actually in this tournament. So Lim will be going up against Caesar Grist, Reliquary Hunter, I Stand Sentinel, a Slugger, or a Brawler. Each turn, Caesar gains threat. As threat builds, he gains additional power and defense, gradually becoming unstoppable. When his threat grows too high, he crashes back to 0, losing a turn in the process. Manage your threat level and capitalize on your high and low power beats to overpower foes. Don't know why I didn't say overpower in Lim's thing. But yeah, I have played him. He is an interesting fighter because you have to manage that threat. The fighter of Lim and Caesar will be going up against, this chick. Dolores Maleface, Mother of Monsters. She's gonna be pretty interesting, I think. I will teach you the true meaning of fear. Dolores' wide-reaching attacks combined with the frightful power of the wings of Maleface, which allow her to move quickly around the board. Though her ranges are limited, her superior mobility and disruptive potential allow her to create deadly situations for her opponents. Confound and corner your opponents to strike them down. Ooh. Interesting. Then we have, of course, you can't have the king without having an assassin. Hekech, Imperial Assassin. That's what his little quote is. Rapidly leap into and out of combat, engaging in a flurry of blades and blows as you strike with deadly precision. Hekech's mastery of shadows allow him to move instantaneously and to strike his foe's weakness with critical accuracy. Dance out of the opponent's retaliation while raining down a fury of blades to tear apart foes. So, yep, the Imperial Assassin. Yeah, he's pretty wicked. And then his fight is going to be against the bug chick, Kaguya. Kaguya Septi Salix, Forest Guardian. Death is only the beginning of the next life. As opponents move around her, Kaguya acquires more insects, which deal constant damage over time. The more insects she can keep in play through constant pressure, the more dangerous her styles become as well. Trap opponents under a torrent of insects and devour them with your swarm. Might be a pretty good match against Hekech if reading that indicates anything about moving around her. They just get riddled with bugs. And then the fight between Hekech and Kaguya will go against Vekal. Yeah, the new Wonders of Indines. The Revenant Knight. What is your bidding, my master? Well, that is definitely a play on Star Wars. Vekal commands a horde of ghostly attackers which chase down opponents and whittle away at their life. A competent fighter in his own right, he uses his high mobility and defense to lure opponents into traps and sap their life with his ghosts, finishing them off with his blade. Overcome your opponent's defenses with your relentless, ghostly minions, then go for the kill. So, once again, this tournament will also kind of prove the balance of the game, I think. Now, like I said, I think the thing that we're gonna do with this is we're not prepping. Like we're not gonna have the time to actually come in and like learn the characters and then fight. Like we're gonna be going in completely blind. But I think we'll be fine because we are familiar with the game completely, and we should be able to figure out a character because they're not that complex. But yeah, I'm interested to see if there's any one character that just kind of sweeps every opponent. So for intermediate tournament number 2, we have Klinhide. Klinhide 8, Special Operative. This is going to hurt you more than it hurts me. Klinhide's stim packs grant him a rush of powerful stats and constant bonuses thereafter, but at the cost of his life. Carefully choose which stims to use to empower your own attacks and defend against foes, or else you can do as much harm to yourself as your opponents. Charge fearlessly into the fray with overpowering force to quickly execute foes. I like him. I like his design. And his opponent is Zenisha Zook, Blood Mage. There is a strange power in this blood. She's a mage! Zenisha fights by drawing power from her own life each round. By taking on additional risk, she can make stronger plays. However, if things go awry, she stands to lose everything. Predict your foe's actions and draw forth power wisely to prevail. That could not have been better planned. The fact that her and Klinhide both damage themselves for powerful boosts. That's pretty cool. That's the initial fight. But whoever wins that fight will go up against Magdalena Larrington, Battle Chandler. Solar Saint, let your light shine through me, that I might deliver justice by your sword. Another mage. Magdalena constantly gains power over time as her connection with her spirit companion grows stronger. Though she begins a duel in a weakened state, she can become an unstoppable force if left unchecked. Stall your opponent to build up power, then overpower them with divine might. So I have played her, and she becomes quite god tier by the end if she does not get killed quickly. So next, the fight is going to be Voko. Voko Astrum, Evil Overlord? Sorry, but I don't do request, especially not for the fans. Ah, that's probably why he's evil, because he's a tool. Voko's wide-ranging sonic attacks place down hordes of zombies on the field as he fights. He can use these to attack by playing the crowd against his foes, threatening to strike them from every angle. Raise the dead with thunderous heavy metal, then bury your rivals beneath your zombie hordes. It's gonna be pretty cool. Yeah, I definitely wanted him in because he's kind of like he's like kind of like the Johnny Cage of BattleCon. But we'll see how long he lasts whenever he fights up against Anath Adrastea, Avatar of Havoc. You and all your kind will soon meet your end. Anath utilizes 4 different stances, the aspects of Havoc, to unleash her wrath upon foes. Each stance provides incredible boons, but also large weaknesses. Choose wisely to press your advantages or force your opponent to change tactics. Select the right aspect to utterly overpower and destroy your foes. Huh. Alright, not as good of a... Not as thematic of a pairing as Klinhide and Zanisha. But whoever wins against Voko and Anath will go up against... I think this is a promo character made true. Jin, the Dark King. Excuse me. The Dark King. Your world will soon belong to me. Jin's scouts provide him with useful assistance and willing sacrifices. More comfortable fighting behind his minions, Jin possesses a wide variety of ranged attacks and mobility options. He can even detonate his scouts in a pinch. Manage your minions to gain the advantage and wear down opponents. Alright. That'd be pretty cool, Jin versus Voko, or Voko. Have the different scouts and zombies fight. So, that is Intermediate Tournament number 2. And just a reminder, all of the winners of these champions will go in to fight and do one final thing. One final champion of Indines. So, then we go into the advance as I continue to yawn. Yippee! Okay, so the first advanced fight is going to be Lysandra Mackin, Apprentice Summoner. By blood, let our pact be fulfilled. Lysandra can summon powerful familiars, which provide her with stat bonuses and single-use effects. Damage enemies or sacrifice your own life to summon familiars, then choose whether to keep them in play for residual bonuses or to sacrifice them to fuel your immediate ambitions. Choose the right familiars and build a deadly menagerie to overwhelm your foes. That seems a little bit up my alley. That sounds like a lot of fun. And then she is fighting Irialandradana Yamarella, Star Knight, or Eerie. I am Chaos, the hand of fate that balances the scales. Eerie possesses 3 facades, each with distinct and powerful effects. The turn she switches to a facade, she gains its transform power. On future rounds, she can remain in that facade for a different effect, or switch again for another transform power. Use the right facades for each beat, balancing the chaos of transformation and stability. So, chick fight! Yeah, so she's gonna be pretty cool. I didn't even realize that do they have different art for everyone? No, she does though. On the difference on the sides for her character. That's pretty cool. Next, we have another one of my boys. I'm curious to see how he actually plays though, considering I didn't like his core before Unleashed. Byron Crane, the Immortal Bound. The time of my ascension has come at last. Byron's fragile life is tied directly to his masks, which are depleted each time he takes damage. Avoid retaliation and move quickly around the battlefield, unleashing powerful spells at range to deal critical damage to your foes. Protect your limited mask and overpower foes with your deadly magic. Yeah, he's a rough one. He is a rough one to play. But he might be a good one to play against his enemy, Gaspar Gedon, Disciple of the Knot. We will not all disappear, but we will all be changed. Gaspar utilizes a clone, which fights as an additional companion and performs its own attacks. By leveraging the clone, Gaspar can combo together with himself, flank enemies, and utilize unique tactics impossible for a single fighter. Combine forces with your mirror image to unleash mayhem on the battlefield. Well, Byron's out. I think he loses if he loses all of his masks, so... Ugh. Alright. That's gonna be rough. But one thing I also forgot to mention, the fighter, or the winner of Lysandra and Eerie will go on to fight Cherry Seneca, a Dreamwalker. I feel myself slipping away into madness, but somehow everything I wondered at before has become so terribly clear. Shatter your opponent's senses with psychic power, breaking their resolve and forcing them to change their attacks. Cherry's insight allows her to outplay rivals with cunning instead of pure power. Leverage fear and uncertainty as your opponents to pick apart your foes. Alright. Another, what was that? I think she was she was a Disruptor. Disruptors are fun, but they are definitely a little more trickier to play. And the winner of Byron and Gaspar, so Gaspar will end up fighting Auriax. Auriax 2, I think another promo. The God Hacker. Your gods bend to my will. Auriax's deity cards grant small boons when first invoked, and then more powerful boons after they begin to run out. These devastating effects are limited, however, and Auriax must be careful not to invoke their power too freely or lightly. Call down your dark miracles to gain godlike power and obliterate your enemies. Yeah, I'm curious on the promo ones that because I remember Bruce Lee was definitely not the most balanced of fighters. What I should have done actually is had Bruce Lee be the final fighter, because he was so god tier. All right, so that is the first advance, and the final advanced tournament will be this one's gonna be interesting. So the very first fight is going to be Enderbite, the Collector. Just hand it over and make both of our lives a little bit easier, won't you? Enderbite is fully customizable and has a huge array of styles, bases, and unique abilities to choose from. Build your ultimate fighter by combining these cards to play their opponent's weaknesses or to resist their strengths. By customizing to suit the needs of the situation, you can overcome your enemy. So I mentioned that we will not be prepping. Like we're not gonna read ahead of what the characters' like cards are. We're not gonna strategize. Like we're not gonna sit here and like, oh, I'm not gonna pick the two. I'm not gonna pick Byron versus Gaspar and play them out. We're gonna go in as if it were a tournament with our own skill set. Enderbite is the only exception to this tournament. Because of how customizable he is, we want him to give him the fairest advantage, because as it says on the box, you customize to your opponent. So we have, Devin and I have both agreed that Enderbite is the only one that we can look kind of ahead at what the opponent can do. And what we'll probably do is just read the back of the fighter and build on that. Because otherwise, if we just kind of pick him based off how we want to fight, then he might just be extremely busted, So that'll be interesting. But Enderbite's first fight is going to be Victor, Master of Terror. I think he's another promo, or he's new. No, yep, he's a promo. He's a promo fighter. We're not so different, you and I. Victor's suggestions help him to control opponents, threatening dangerous disadvantages if they violate his commands. The opponent can only afford to break so many suggestions during a fight, so look for ways to force their hand or put them in an awkward position. Terrorize opponents with your suggestions or punish them foolish enough to defy them. Yeah, he's going to be pretty cool. That's a pretty interesting matchup, Enderbite versus Victor, because it's like, how do you fight against someone who makes you do stuff, and if you don't do them, you get penalized? The winner of Enderbite and Victor, this is kind of humorous. We initially, for the record, with the 10, Borneo and Judo were in the tournament, but we had to make some decisions on who was getting cut after we initially did the 10. And while I think it's hilarious if Borneo and Judo made it to the final fight, I definitely I couldn't do it. So we had to take them out. But the winner of Enderbite and Victor will be going up against Eric Russell Zane, Prodigal Sorcerer. Only a true hero such as myself could save Indines from the forces of darkness. Eric utilizes influence tokens to deny both himself and the opponent access to their most powerful effects, selectively prevent the right effects at the right time, and you can shut down foes' strategies. Anticipate your enemy's movements and counter them preemptively to wear them down. He's always intrigued me because he's a kid, but I guess he's a prodigy. There's another kid that I believe is in here. Not counting Klaus. Klaus was initially in the fight, but no, Clive. That's it. Clive is intermediate, so I guess he didn't. No, he's advanced actually, but he didn't make it. Yeah, interesting. Clive seemed to be kind of like the Mega Man, I think. All right. So then the next fight is going to be Caitlin Van Sorrel, Grand Marshal of the Planestalkers. No forces in this universe are stronger than discipline and resolve. Caitlin creates wormholes which alter the range between herself and opponents. They also impede movement for opponents. A dedicated ranger, Caitlin must constantly reposition herself and opponents to make use of her best attacks. Bend space to your advantage and befuddle foes as you wreak havoc from afar. So, a range fighter, and I believe the other person fighting her is also ranged in a way. And her opponent is Welsie Acturn, Time Traveler. Well, let's try this one more time. Welsie is able to repeat attacks from her discard piles, activating attack pairs from the past. Many of her attacks get even stronger the second or third time around. Select your attacks with an eye to both present and future to outplan your foes. Will be definitely an interesting fight, a portal user and a time traveler. And the winner of Caitlin and Welsie will go on to fight Seth Kreml. I actually have played him. Fate itself will be torn asunder should it be the will of the goddess. As a martial artist with the power to see the future, Seth grows more powerful by correctly predicting and reacting to his opponent's actions. With his many tricky styles, he can upset even the most carefully laid plans. Use your attacks to counter enemy strategies while calling their most obvious moves to shut them down. Yes, I have played him. When we first got Indines, Devin and I did Seth versus Burgundy, and it came down to me having to predict his attack, and if I did it, I won, and if I didn't, I lost, and I was able to do it. So that was pretty cool. So that is it. That is all of the contestants for this tournament. Once again, I don't expect this to, I expect the tournament to go well. I don't expect it to get, obviously that many views, but if you love BattleCon, then definitely come check out the tournament. Yeah, so that's pretty much it. If you're excited, let me know. I think it's going to be a blast. One, because this we don't have like a personal stake in it. It's not like us going into a tournament to try and fight. And it gives us a chance to play out this game and get more involved in the world of Indines. So, hope you stick around for the BattleCon Tournament series and have fun along the way. Like, comment, share, and subscribe, and have a wonderful whatever time of day it is for you. Hey everyone, thank you for watching, and I really hope that you enjoyed the video. If you would like to see more of my content, go ahead and click that subscribe button and the bell to be notified whenever I upload any new content. If you feel like supporting the channel, you can go ahead and click that Patreon link to be taken to my Patreon, and any help is truly appreciated. Other than that, stick around for any other run-throughs or reviews or cool top 10s or whatever I feel like putting on. Other than that, like, comment, share, and subscribe, and have a wonderful whatever time of day it is for you.